First guest tonight is a two-time Oscar-winning screenwriter, producer, director, and actor, whom you can see crunching both numbers and bones in his new movie, The Accountant. 2 It opens at theaters. Friday, please. Welcome, Ben Affleck. How are you? Very good to see you. Good to see you too. How you been? I'm good. I'm good. You have that look on your face that you sometimes have when I see you where you're like, what is he going to do? Is he going to do something? No, I'm not transporting any other human beings. Oh, you mean you? No, yeah. No, this is your own inner. This is you projecting this suspicions whatsoever. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, because there's nothing I'm gonna do. It's not gonna be like when I came to your house for Christmas and I walk in the door, and then Jay Leno just walks right in behind me, and we're both making awkward small talk with you, and you say, oh yeah, you guys have something with each other, right? And then I didn't like track the subtlety of your, gossip. No, you just dropped a grenade right on us. This is painful and awkward. What's strange is something strange here. Have you guys been insulting each other publicly for decades? Oh, well, Merry Christmas. Yeah, you left pretty quick. That's almost exactly how it went. Yes. Well, first of all, you had the premiere for The Accountant 2 right across the street from our theater. I was not invited to that, well, 'cause God knows who you're feuding with, you know what I mean? I can't, speaking of who I'm feuding with exactly, did Matt attend the premiere? He didn't? Ah, what a good friend that is. What a great friend he was working. How long did you work on this movie? I mean, quite a few months, a long time, right? You put a lot into it. He did. Did he see it? Has he seen it? He has seen it. Have you seen it? Did he compliment? Did he give you rightful admiration for it because it's quite humorous and quite excellent? What did he say? Now that you've said it, I don't remember a great deal of niceness. Uh, I believe he said he saw it so self-absorbed. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Can I propose that you perhaps test him a little bit and determine if he actually saw it go? Because you like him, so how'd you like the second act? But that one shot with me and the porcupine specifically, name actors who weren't in the film, and she was brilliant, wasn't she? Oh yeah, she Amy Adams incredible or what? Terrific. Yeah, I would suggest you do that. Um, your children did see the movie. I did. Yeah, it was one but it's a little scary because my children, they all came kids, stepchildren, the whole gang and their buddies. And I was thrilled that they wanted to come watch it. But my children, they are so hard-nosed and they don't censor their criticisms, you know what I mean? So they'll sit right beside me watching a film and just, during its occurring, this is awful. This is awful. Why did you do this? You can wait until it ended, you know what I mean, before. But you don't do that at their school performances. Exactly. Please, do you know that is not the parent. Learn to play the clarinet if you're going to play the clarinet. Call that a recorder production. The kids liked it, though they liked it. Yeah, and they were actually at first it was one of those things where they looked at me like you thought I was gazing at you, which was what's the trick? I was like, what, you actually enjoyed it? I'm like, are they? And they were like, yeah, it was fine. And they were astonished. You know what I mean? Yeah, as if, I got so fortunate. This magical mishap occurred and something I did was fine. You've made a lot of films prior to them were born. Have you ever had an experience where you put all the children in a row and said, oh, well, I want you to watch this film? I didn't explain it quite, so, even I knew even then to be a bit more cautious. But during COVID, all the children were home and I was like, hey, let's watch a movie. And I thought, oh, maybe the children will enjoy Armageddon, because and almost right away it was like, what is, this is so dumb. Are you kidding me? My son was like, he said, this doesn't make sense. I said, this is not a logic-based movie. That is not one of the things we used making this. Did you, when you were a kid, did you have HBO or would you go to the movies when you were a kid? What would you? No, I went to the movies. In fact, I was thinking the other day, I would go to the movies. I was an actual latchkey kid. I walked to school from first grade. I had a key with a piece of yarn around my neck. And I went to school and we wanted to see the movies. I remember seeing Star Wars. Took the subway 3 stops, must have seen it 20 times. Wait, how old were you when I was 5, 6, 7. I was be if you did that in West LA now, they would call Child Protective Service 100%. This man has to be imprisoned, and By the way, my parents were very Durelch, or it was a different era. I think it was more on the Durelch side because I remember my mom tell, these are the stories you hear about like the 40s and 50s, not from when you grow up. Yeah. And by the way, dude, I remember coming home from school, like when my dad still lived, and him just being there. He didn't have a job. He didn't know where to go. He just didn't want to walk me to school. There's no need to bother, like he wanted to stay home and have a beer. I come in like, hey, I'll add another home. If he was placing a key around your neck, he didn't even want to get up and open the door. And by the way, I thought that was cool. I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's how, like, I thought nothing of it. I guess I'm like walking over people on the side. It wasn't, it was sort of a different standard. What movies do you remember seeing as a kid on those buses? Well, Define Star Wars was the first time that I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is a real space movie. That movie made sense. Huh. Uh, and no, I remember going to a showing of Back to the Future and being on the subway coming home and making the conscious decision. Like that is the best movie ever made, really, absolutely. And then a year later, I think Christopher Lloyd was doing a play like in Boston, and I saw him. He played Doc, in Back to the Future. He was, the mad scientist friend of mine. Everyone knows that. Yeah, everyone knows the other day I was on a show and I made a George Steinbrenner reference and everyone looked at me blankly. And the oldest guy in the room, it was like 90, turned to someone was like, he used to own the Yankees, right? So I've now explaining from like 2010. You know what I mean? We get it. We understand. But I bumped into the guy. I saw him on the street. I had never seen a celebrity or an actor before in my life. I was likely 11 or 12, and I later realized, like, I trailed behind him for 10 blocks. I literally stalked the man, you know what I mean? And because I was so, like, sure, flabbergasted, it's Doc Brown, if you could redo Back to the Future, would you go back in time and see to it that you never met Matt Damon, that he disappeared? I'd hold the picture of him in his erase and also not sleep with my mom, which is that sorry? Is that too much? That's the premise of that movie if you saw it. Um you Kevin Coher was here and he was talking about God, what movie was it? Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. Yeah, you and Matt were like, yeah, we used to because we were, serious actors since very young, and we became familiar with the local casting individual in Boston who would cast like when a movie came to town. My Field of Dreams, they needed extras, and so we would go do extra work because we, want to be actors, and we did like a Carl Malden PBS thing. And like we were extras in the PBS movie where Kevin Bacon met his wife, Kira Cedric, believe it or not, in real. Oh, wow. How about that? And we were in Field of the Dreams. And Kevin is being nice because saying he remembers us because we were not memorable. We were like just bugging. You know what I mean? And and there were a lot of people there. It's sweet of him to say that. But I I'm pretty sure he remembers like the actors with lines, but you remember meeting him, I remember, and it was like seeing, God, him and James Earl Jones. And it was like a real Darth Vader, did you follow? Yeah, exactly. So I was like, call me Luke. He'll bring me back, say say you're my father. And uh we went and it was like 2 days at Fenway Park. And we got to be at Fenway Park while it wasn't a base. Everything about it felt so big time. And I remember we were like really kind of, we knew that, actors were kind of fraudulent. And Costner took batting practice and we were like waiting for him to be, see, he can't actually hit. Yeah. And I will say something, he banged like a lot of balls off the green monster, hit a ball out of the park. It was so impressive that like 20 years later, I was going through this article of an interview of Matt. And then I see him in this interview say, yeah, I took batting practice at Fenway Park and I hit the ball off the green monster. I was like, Matt, are you remembering yourself as Kevin Cost? That sounds right. That's trash. Do you remember the first movie that you and Matt were extras in? Well, we would go to the movies all the time and try to see ourselves. But I remember the first one that we got to do something together, which was our debut, was a movie I think it was called The Good Mother. I think it was Liam Neeson and Diane Keaton. And the thing that really amazed me was that Spock was the director, which, yeah, and at the time it was a Spock. Yeah, back then, yeah, we actually tracked that moment down. And this is no joke here. Here's the dynamic duo from Boston, their movie debut. Okay, there's you guys right there. And that was it. These guys are going somewhere. There you see it right there. I take time out of my busy day to answer your silly ass questions, and you got the balls to accuse me of money laundering. Yes, you're laundering money. Where is it coming from? Federal agents, stay back. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. That is The Accountant tune starring Ben Affleck. It opens theaters on Friday. What happens to you if you let that be a warning to all the money launderers out there? You see, it does not end well. Accountants get serious. I see why your kid's like that. I would like to see my dad in a scene like that, and I feel like May the next 2 hours would be him complaining about his injuries afterwards. My kids mostly like my son really likes the Invincible show, and J.K. Simmons, who's in that film, does one of the voice, and he was like, Dad, Omni-Man, yeah, I know it's JK, and he always looks at like how do you know someone cool? Like it's not, the universe isn't fair. It really isn't. You did the first account movie 10 years ago, right? Yeah, is it? And does it hurt anymore? Is it worse doing that stuff that is a deceitful sequence because I really only actually took very few of those shots? Is that not? So no, actually, I really did do that, but mostly because Gavin he really wants the director actually, wants to do it in character, yada, 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 make it real. But if I had my brothers, I have gone over 50. So just, like walking around in the mornings before 12 can hurt. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not Tom Cruise. Like I'm not making, you know what I mean, an effort to hold on to the plane. I don't want to go at it with guys. You don't know, it's not half the time you're lugging around like 11 coffee cups, I can't even transport those. You were part of what I believe was either a smart advertising stunt, and I believe we have this, here it is here, right here. Or you're riding the bus to see the movies again. I don't know. One of the two things, but you sat on the accountant bus. There, they did a bright thing, which was place ads for him, the character, to become an accountant. And I will say that, like, given the fact that, people appear to periodically trail me around with cameras in my day-to-day life when I'm doing completely nothing interesting and have used that situation to make me into a perpetually dejected meme, I, um, I was like, I'm going to make the most of it. I was like, you're going to come with me where I go. I'm going to sit down and you're going to promote my film. Yeah, all you're lacking, you need a key around your neck and you'll be ready there. Precisely my favorite scene of the film. And the film is quite humorous, this was sort of humorous actually. You line dancing, you doing country line dancing. Yes, now, unlike the actress of that, is all me every second. Yes, that seemed to be. It was you, thank you. Did you ever do that before? I have not line danced. I didn't. There wasn't a big deal in Boston. I didn't grow up doing that. And so it was a new thing. Your friends at home weren't into that kind of thing. Not when I'm sure it's big now, but uh, when they informed me about it and I read this, it was a really clever idea because the guy who's attempting to, like, kind of what the movie is about, it's a guy who's attempting to connect, have more connection with people. And this scene's about, like, flirting with this girl, and he kind of bombs and says the wrong thing, and he's connecting. But then, in dancing, it makes most of us already feel uneasy. Just stand up and improvise with our bodies to the rhythm of some beat you. But this is one that's built like, so that, look, it's got show us precisely, do a bit of line dancing. It's not the right track. What do you like? Like Elvirus, I thought you were going to. What is this Monster Mash? Like, it does sound like Monster Mash. You want to do the Monster Country Western dance, right? No, that's not getting you going right now. You're not, I don't, I've long forgotten the only dance. I knew there's no happy ending to the story. I listened, all right, it's too loud. They finally found Johnny Cash in their room. No, I mean, when they sent, like, normally, hey, we got a teacher and instructor, going to teach you how to do the line dancing steps. You're going to memorize it. When two people came, like, is this going to take two people to teach me a 30-second line dance? And we were 8 weeks from shooting. I was like, how uncoordinated Do you think will you be doing that at weddings? Will you bring that out again? I feel like that's not the end of it. I hope it is. I think it was funny once. It's like it's a really funny scene, and the danger is that don't go back to the well, here's what I hope. I would hate to be one of those guys who's got a bit that works and never lets it go. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I've heard about those guys. Yeah, it's like they're like squeezing a dry rag. Yeah, it's thank God you don't. Well, I have no idea who you're talking about, but I know you got a big Celtics game to go watch, so thank you for coming. The movie is called The Accounted 2. It opens at theaters Friday. Ben Affleck, Everybody Will Back, with Danny Rickard, GMO. Do you know how many subscribers we have on YouTube now? 20 millions? That's right. Yeah, that's why we're wearing these glasses. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not, help us get to 20 million and one.